Hey guys, it's Maymay, and some of you may have seen the 10-minute card challenge that we did on Saturday, which was super fun. It was a challenge from my Periscope viewers, and I thought it was really cool. And this is the card sketch that I got, as well as the card that I created in 10 minutes. Now, there were other things I wanted to do and didn't get to do to this card, and lots of folks said you should refilm it, but do it the way you want it done. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to film it using the card sketch that Georgia gave us in our challenge. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. I'll link it below so you guys can see it. And I'm going to make it like I actually wanted the card to look. So if I just had this card sketch, the card I'm fixing to do would be exactly what I wanted. I'm going to play with lots of white. I love a card that is a lot of white and is a lot of embossing. So that's what we're going to do. So I have a piece of cardstock that is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I'm going to emboss this. This is going to be the top matte piece on my card. I'm going to do a lot of embossing. I think it's pretty to do that on all white cards. So I'm lining this one up kind of carefully inside of my folder. Something like that. And then I'm going to put it between my B plates for my cuddle bug. And then sit all this onto an A plate and run it through. So now we have this pretty white cardstock with these swirls all over it. Aren't they pretty? So now I have another white piece of cardstock that is going to be my base, and I'm going to score it here at 5 1/2. This is a standard A2 card base, so it's 11 by 4 1/4 wide, scored at 5 1/2. And I like to go ahead just while it's in here, just line it up in that corner and do my fold so I get it in a good spot, just like so. So there's our card base. Now this piece is going to sit on top of here like this, but not just yet. I want to do some stitching to it. So I have these 3 pieces of twine that have some silver in them, which I think are really pretty. And if you remember on my cardstock, there's this bit that goes across like this, which I tried to do this in my challenge and I couldn't, but I really wanted to see how this would turn out. So here's what we're going to do. I've got my card base my card mat that's already embossed, and I'm going to come in about 1/2 inch, and using my scoreboard I'm going to poke a hole 1/2 inch in. Then I'm going to come over one mark and line it up with that same one and use the scoreboard to help me poke through, just so I know it's going to go through the cardstock and into the groove of the scoreboard. So I'm giving myself like 3 marks very close together. Now I'm just going to turn this guy around and do the same thing again. So I'm coming in 1/2 inch. I'm just going to eyeball down about this far, poke a hole, move over, poke another hole, move over, poke another. You could do this. You could be so specific with this and measure it, or use one of your little tools that you have for paper piercing and stuff like that. But that's how I'm going to do that. So now we can thread the twine through, and I got to tell you what happened. In my challenge video, I could not find these threaders, and I knew I had them. I have them always beside my desk, right where I need them, and guess what? They were right where they were supposed to be, but in my panic, I could not find them, and I was like, where did I put my threaders? I was freaking out. You have to see that part of the video, because I think it's funny. So this is a dental threader, like for dental floss, and I just put that twine through it. I'm going to feed it through that first hole there, and push it through to the back. This makes this process so much easier than what I tried to do on Saturday, which is why I could not get 3 pieces into my card. I ended up only having 1, but that's okay. We're going to do it right today. All right, so I've got it fed through that time. Now, I don't think that hole is big enough. I just kind of got a barely little piercing piece, so I'm going to come down here and make these a little bit bigger with my tool. Just poke those through so I don't struggle. Do the same up here because I don't want to take a chance of ripping the cardstock. Okay, so now we're ready to go. Now I want to put the other piece in, and this one's going to go to the far side out here. Well, let's feed it into our little threader. Hold it back, put it into the hole there, and thread that baker's twine through. Just like that. So there's piece number 1. Now, just to save me some headache, I'm going to go ahead and tape these down one at a time, because if they were to come loose, I would be so sad to have to do it again. So we're just going to tape that one into place, and then tape this one into place. I'll come back and trim these off if I have a bunch left over. So I've done it once. Now let's do it to the second one. We're going to do the exact same thing. Thread it through our dental threader, just like this. Feed it through that hole. Get it into place. It's much easier when you make that hole a little bit larger. This is a very stiff twine too. It's not really a baker's twine. It's got a metallic thread in it, so it's pretty stiff. I'm going to feed this through the second hole here, and then we're just going to do it one more time with that third one. So now I have those 3 thread through and then taped on the back. There's no way I could have done that in 10 minutes. That took forever. Now that piece that we ran the string through and embossed, I'm going to mount it with some foam tape onto our card base. The reason I'm using this much foam tape this time is because when I emboss the paper, it kind of gets a little weaker and it gets a little warped. So I want to make sure that it's going to stay in place and we're not going to have any problems with anything lifting. So I'm using a lot more foam tape than I normally would. Pick that up. I have a little bit sticking out of that foam tape. I'm going to trim that off. Just like so. Alright, and then this guy is going to go onto the card just like that. I love white on white, and you need the dimension so you can see the movement in the card. Can you see how it lifts? You just need that foam dimension. Now let's work on these guys. Now luckily in my video on Saturday I figured out how to do diamonds, and let me show you what I did. This is a 1 1/4 inch piece of paper, and what I did was I put one edge on the cut blade and I brought one edge up to my first cutting line here, which is 1/4 inch away, and I just sliced that just like that. Then using this piece of the paper as my guide and these straight lines, I slid this up to a 1 1/4 inch straight. Do you see that right there? It's on the 1 1/4 inch line away from the cut blade. Lay the blade down and slice, and that gets me the diamond shape I was looking for the card front. I have no idea how I got that lucky to get that to work, but it did, and now it's just a matter of lining this up on the straight edge of that 1 1/4 measurement away from the blade and slicing, and we get our diamond shape. That was pure luck of the draw. You'll see me figure that out in the video too. I just figured it out. So there's 3 of those guys. Now I'm going to do something a little bit different today than I did the other day. I'm going to mat these, and I'll show you how. I think this paper is really pretty, this pattern. What I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these guys straight down to this paper, and I can just kind of get up in this corner. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to leave myself a little bit of room because I'm going to use my mini perfect layers to cut a 1/16 border around these guys. And guess what I don't have to do? Measure. I won't have to try to figure out this angle again on another piece, and I think that makes it all worth it. And I just glued that to the wrong place. Let's go over here, give ourselves a little more space than that. And then let's glue the other one down. To make things easy, I'm going to slice these apart because I got them kind of close on this page. So I'm just going to do these one at a time. If I was able to line these up perfectly, I could have done 3 at a time, but I'm not good at that perfect lining up stuff. That's why we need tools like this. Okay, this is my ruler, and I'm going to do a 1/16 inch border all the way around that little diamond. I just want a tiny bit of color to peek out. And what you do is you just line the edge of these rulers up with the edge of that white diamond that I cut first, and it leaves me this little tiny border. So there is one with the tiny little border around it. Make sure it focuses on it for you guys. And that's what I'm going to do the other 2 as well. So here are my little diamond pieces all matted and ready to go. And I decided I wanted to do some stamping on them. And these 2 stamp sets are from my stamp line. This is Pray for the Cure and the companion set. I'm going to use this angel and this angel on these diamonds, and then a sentiment in the middle. While I'm stamping this, I'll let you know, if you're interested in these stamp sets, you can get them from my web store, which is maymaymadeit.com. And a lot of the other products too today, like the perfect mini layers, you can find those there too. All right, I'm going to stamp this little angel in this direction on this diamond. Oh, I love it. How cute. Let me zoom you guys in. Look at that little guy. It looks so cute. And then I'm going to stamp the other one on this guy facing this direction. Now these angels aren't exactly the same size. I made sure in the sets that the angels were slightly different size, but you'll be able to use them pretty similarly. Look at that. Looks nice, huh? I love it. Okay. Now then, we need a sentiment in the middle. Let me decide what that's going to be. Now I'm really pushing it here. I want to use a sentiment stamp that says you're in my prayers, and it's going to fit just exact here. So I'm just going to stamp that on. Perfect, got it where I wanted it. Good deal. And now we're ready to assemble some more. Now you can see I put some foam tape on the back of these 3 diamonds, and I think I'm going to start with the one in the middle so I can get it right where I want it. I'm going to use my cutting mat to kind of help me find the center. It's going to be in this area, so I'm just going to line this one up here. Oh, I love that on there. I love this card sketch. I would have never thought to do a card sketch in this layout, so I appreciate Georgia for challenging me that way. Now I'm going to add this little angel to the top and kind of distance it the same distance away from the other one. Add that one right there. There's no way I could have done this card in 10 minutes. There's no way. But I love how it's turning out. And then I'm just going to add this one right here about the same distance apart. And I put a good bit of foam tape on the back so I could be sure it went over the strings because I have those little strings running through. And there you go. Now we need a sentiment on the inside. So let's look at that. So on the inside of the card, I'm going to use the scripture that says, he shall give his angels charge over thee. And I'm just going to stamp it here in the top. No, I'm not. I have this thing lately where I like to stamp in the bottom corner. I don't know why. I just do. And every time I line up to the top, I just don't do it. And I come down here to this bottom corner. And I really like it here. So I'm going to stamp it right there in the bottom corner. And this card is ready to go now. So there you go, guys. That's my 2 cards, my challenge card and the not challenge but what I would have done card. And if you do this challenge, be sure to head over to my Facebook group, which is called Maymay Made It, and so did I, and upload pictures so we can see what you did. If you do this challenge on your YouTube channel or any of your social medias, be sure to hashtag it with 10-minute card. That way we can go check them out and see what you're doing. Thanks so much for watching today, guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.